So, Oliver, this week, the MAGA Civil War continues to rage over Donald Trump, his policies, the Jeffrey Epstein files. Sean Hannity, who has sort of become like Trump's defender-in-chief over the years. As we've known in the first administration, he would talk to Trump on the phone regularly. I imagine that's probably still happening to a certain extent. Sean Hannity went on his show this week, I think on his radio show, right? And really lashed out at other MAGA media personalities, really trying to shake them up, saying people that claim to be Trump supporters, how dare they criticize Trump on things? Is anyone going to be perfect? No, he says. And this is obviously coming after Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and others, many podcasters and social media personalities who reliably defended Trump, who told people to vote for Trump just a couple of months ago at the election, have now sort of raised all kinds of questions. Oh my gosh, I can't even forget. Joe Rogan raising serious questions about Donald Trump's immigration policy, rounding up people. And now Sean Hannity's furious about this and trying to sort of like get the troops back in line. What do you think? Is this sort of a response from Trump world that to try to basically get the troops back together in line and say, hey, he's not perfect, but he's our guy. And what do you want, Kamala Harris instead?
Yeah, I mean, Sean Hannity is Donald Trump's chief propagandist. So perhaps in his brain, it just doesn't compute that people would have some independent thoughts and some criticism of Donald Trump and voice that criticism. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, that's what we're seeing now. You alluded to Joe Rogan criticizing Donald Trump. Andrew Schulz has criticized Donald Trump. Candace Owens says she's embarrassed. She told people to vote for Donald Trump. Tucker Carlson at times has gone after Donald Trump. A lot of these people are not necessarily all in on the propaganda the way Sean Hannity is, and they're voicing dissent with the government. And Sean Hannity is, I guess, triggered by that, really frustrated by that, because not only once, but a couple times this week, he's gone on his radio show and questioned basically whether these people are even part of the MAGA camp. You know, he said he's growing very cynical that they're part of the MAGA camp and said that he thinks, and this is what Sean Hannity's saying, that these people are chasing clicks and chasing views and they have to say outrageous stuff and disagree with Donald Trump to get attention these days. And I don't know, I thought it was really telling for a couple of reasons. One, Sean Hannity's kind of telling on himself that he's only ever supportive of Donald Trump. I mean, when is the last time Sean Hannity went on air and disagreed with Donald Trump? I mean, these two are in lockstep all the time. So Hannity himself is telling on himself. He doesn't have independent thoughts. He only goes on air and gives the pro-Trump spin night after night. But at the same time, I thought it was interesting that Sean Hannity is really lashing out at new media in a way that Donald Trump did with Tucker Carlson a few weeks ago or a couple months ago when he said to Tucker, get a TV show if you want people to listen to you. Sean Hannity's sort of been a guy, he's been an establishment voice for so long, right? He's really had a foothold or a stranglehold on the conservative base. And for the first time, or you're really seeing podcasters like Joe Rogan give someone like Sean Hannity a run for his money. And I almost felt like Sean Hannity was sort of lashing out of defense. And it was almost like old media guy trying to fend off the new folks on the internet, like Candace Owens, who are criticizing Donald Trump. And I thought that was just an interesting dynamic there, because on Fox News, everyone's really supportive of Donald Trump. But out there in new media, you're seeing a lot of dissent these days. And it's making Sean Hannity apparently quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's clearly like an effect of the fracturing of the media landscape. And Fox and talk radio used to completely just dominate the right-wing landscape from coast to coast. And their narratives, if they decide they want to change the subject, or they decide that they want to take a particular view on an issue, including a defense of the current administration, then that's what the base is going to hear. And unless you're going to go to the quote mainstream press Where else are you going to get that alternative view on it? And Republicans have been programmed for decades now not to trust the mainstream media. They're not going to trust the Times, even the Associated Press, brands and media companies that have existed with great reputations as being neutral, reporting the facts. But we're seeing this landscape now where Hannity and others who command sizable audiences have lost control of the message. This reminds me a lot of how Trump himself has lost control of the narrative around the Jeffrey Epstein saga. Others like Tucker Carlson have straight up said, like, this is a disaster for this administration and called for Pam Bondi to resign over it. We've seen Donald Trump just continue to take her side, continue to defend her. But I think that this has shown that it continues to split the base. Some great new research from Media Matters that just came in this week that it just perfectly it says everything about the narrative control. And that is that Fox has now devoted 7 times more of its coverage to covering the Sydney Sweeney, let's say, online micro, I don't even know. It's like
sideshow.
It's like what is this thing? Versus the very real Jeffrey Epstein files that are very much being covered up at this point. And the network clearly has made a conscious decision to completely sweep this story under the rug and move away to any shiny object that they can. And then you see Sean Hannity go on the air and command respect from the troops, that they get in line and that they do what Donald Trump says. It's a remarkable moment.
And I think it's also a lot of focus has been on the dissent over Jeffrey Epstein, which is all anything, it obviously motivates the base. But even before then, I think we saw dissent with Iran and the Iran strikes and Trump's foreign policy. And most notably, I think we're seeing dissent within immigration, where that was one of the main issues Donald Trump ran on. And you're seeing Joe Rogan blast Donald Trump over his immigration policy and how they're treating immigrants in this country. You're seeing Andrew Schulz, the comedian who is pro-Trump, blast Donald Trump over his immigration policy. And Andrew Schulz said, this is not what I voted for. This is not what I voted for. These people thought that Donald Trump, I guess, was serious when he said, and this shows how naive they are, but they thought he was serious, I guess, when he said they was only going to target the people who are actually breaking the law and maybe committing, violent acts. And now we're seeing them recoil, John, as Donald Trump targets just people who are trying to make a living, on farms or in the service industry, and send them to Alligator Alcatraz, where we're seeing reports that these people are being denied basic, human care. And I think there was one report that said that they had to beg for food like dogs or eat food like dogs or something disturbing, that the AC was turned on so high that they were unable to sleep because it was so cold. And Donald Trump, for the first time, I think, is getting a lot of pushback from these it's not like Joe Rogan doesn't have an audience, right? Donald Trump came into office because he had the support of Joe Rogan and Andrew Schulz. That was a whole theme, how the pro-men podcasters had ushered Donald Trump in. So when they go on and they very forcefully call him out and say that this is a bad thing and this is wrong, I think it matters. Now, Donald Trump obviously is not running again, or at least, maybe he will try to run again, but, he theoretically can't run again for president. So maybe he doesn't care as much about winning again. But, the midterms are coming up, and it's going to be very interesting to see, does someone like Andrew Schulz say, go vote for the Democrats? I was listening to him the other day, and he said something to the effect of that the only pro-America first party right now is the Democrats. And he was saying Bernie Sanders and Zoran Mandami are pro-America first and not the Republicans. And so
Schulz said that.
Schulz said that, yeah. And so it's going to be very interesting to see in the midterms what happens. Thank you for watching Power Lines. For more analysis and insight, subscribe to our YouTube channel down below, like this video, and you can watch more of us right over here.